Sava lifting bags and Sava lifting bag controllers all come with safety manuals. It's very important to read and understand these safety manuals before using the equipment. There's a lot of information that's not intuitively obvious, even for the trained user. Sava lifting bag systems use color-coded hoses and controllers. Safety couplers eliminate the possibility of accidental hose disconnection. To connect, simply push in. To disconnect, push in, slide the collar back, and pull the hose apart. When connecting hoses and controllers together, typically you would start from the bag and work back towards the air source. Blue always connects to the bag and the controller. Yellow always connects from the air source to the controller. With the dual handheld controller, you can operate two bags from one air source. The blue-colored coupler and the blue-colored gauge operate the primary control system. The red coupler and red gauge on the other side operate the secondary part of the control system. The green inflation button is marked with a plus. The red deflation button is marked with a minus. Each side of the controller works independently and has its own safety relief valve. The dual deadman console controller works similarly to other Sava controllers. Color-coded couplers identify the proper locations to install the hoses. Yellow is always the source air hose. Red and blue go to the bags. When stacking bags together, it is always preferable to use the same size bag, or you can use one size smaller bag on top. When inflating the bags, it's important to start filling the bottom bag first and incrementally switch between the bottom and the top bag as you're inflating. The bottom bag should always have more pressure than the upper bag. Stacking bags in this manner allows you greater lifting height. It does not increase your load lifting capacity. Only a side-by-side arrangement will increase lifting capacity. Never stack more than 2 bags at one time with conventional high-pressure lifting bags. The variable control toggles control inflation and deflation. The gauges glow in the dark. Before connecting up a Sava regulator, give it a quick inspection and make sure all the seals are intact and that they're in good condition. Also check and make sure all the valves are turned off before installing it. Do not use the regulator if it is dirty, or if the gauges are cracked, or if there's any visible damage. Carefully thread the regulator on by hand, using the hand-tight nut. Never use a wrench to tighten the regulator. The single-fitting air controller is very rugged, economical, and easy to use. The input side is located next to the inflation control valve. The deflation control valve is located on top of the relief valve. It must be in the closed position for inflation. When introducing pressure into the lines, listen for leaks at the regulator. Sometimes you have to tighten the hand-tight nut a little tighter, particularly when the regulator is new. Always open the tank valve completely, then adjust the regulator output using the T-handle to 116 psi. Too much output pressure can cause the relief valve in the controller to go off, so never adjust it more than 116 psi. Open the airflow limiter valve on the output side of the regulator. This valve can be used to control airflow to get more precise control from the controllers, particularly for smaller bags. When using high pressure bottles and regulators, there is always the possibility of contamination going into the regulator and causing a runaway flow condition. This condition can be very dangerous for obvious reasons. If this happens, immediately turn off the pressure at the tank. Sava 2-stage regulators never need readjustment after the initial adjustment. Always leave the dust covers in place when not in use. The red cap is for air output, the blue cap is to fill the tank. You need not remove the regulator to fill the tank. There is only one adjustment knob at the top. This controls airflow and air pressure. To increase pressure, turn the knob clockwise. To turn the pressure off, turn the knob completely counterclockwise. Pressure will remain in the hose until the hose is vented. The double fitting controller will control 2 bags from one air source. Each controller works independently of the other, and each controller has independent safety relief valves. If a lifting bag or inflation component becomes damaged or the safety of its use becomes seriously in question, it should be hydro-tested. Hydro-testing uses water to inflate the bag to full pressure. It is much safer than using air, which is explosive. Since water is a liquid, and liquid is incompressible, it does not present an explosion hazard in case the bag fails. A factory certified hydro test will also include a close inspection and measurement of damage. The factory has set certain specifications and allowances for cuts or abrasions. If anything measures greater than this, the bag must be taken out of service. Even if a system is well taken care of and is not damaged, it should still be inspected and hydro-tested periodically. The factory recommends first testing after 5 years, then every other year after that until it's 10 years old, then every year after that until it's 15 years old. It is recommended that Sava bags be removed from service after 15 years. This expected lifetime only applies to Sava lifting bags, as some other types of bags may be less. To ensure long life, keep the bags clean by cleaning them with a mild solution of soap and water. Be sure not to let them dry in the sun, as this can damage the bag. Let them air dry in the shade only. Do not use a heat source to speed drying. When not in use, bags should be stored in a dark cabinet. Let's review the key points. The safety manual is important. Read it. Always use standard Sava color-coded hoses. Yellow is always the source air hose. Blue, red, and green are always bag hoses. Stacking bags will increase height only. Placing 2 bags side by side will only increase the weightlifting capacity. The regulator T handle in the middle controls output pressure. The output valve on the left can be used to limit air flow. Limiting the air flow will give the controller greater precision, particularly when using smaller bags. Hydro testing will give you a professional opinion as to the safety of the use of the bag. A permanent record of hydrostatic testing will be issued for each bag. This record can be kept with the bag and updated every time a new hydro test is performed. A 10-minute video and a small safety manual is not adequate training for a complex rescue lifting operation. Always get adequate professional training before allowing anyone to use these bags.